Hello, dear students. How are you all? I am Akhileshwar Mishra from DM School, Regional Institute of Education, Bhubaneswar. Dear students, today we are going to have some discussion and some activities in the chapter called Experiments with Water. In last chapter, you all have understood what is water, how water is precious, why water is so wonderful liquid, and how can we work for conservation of water, how can we avoid wastage of water. And children, think, can you imagine any liquid which can replace water? One of the substances, very few substances or matters that can be used in so many wonderful ways. You think when you are thirsty, what do you take? Water. When you have to wash yourself, you use no other liquid but water. When you have to do cooking, water. When we have to nurture the plants, we have to irrigate them, we have to water them. Just think, such a wonderful matter that the earth has given to us. Is it not? So today we'll be doing a lot of activities, very simple activities which will be connecting with your daily activities, day-to-day life activities and examples, and we'll try to explore some wonderful properties of water. And then you will be really surprised to see how come this transparent looking, odorless, tasteless liquid can behave in so wonderful way, right? So let's go on. We begin this by having some kind of thinking. You might have seen your mother or elder sisters or grandmothers preparing puris, very very favorite thing for children. Puris, and when they are being prepared puris, imagine while frying the puris, they start floating, isn't it? And if you again take it out and put it in water, what will happen? I am not going to give an answer. Whether they will float the way they were floating in oil or they will sink. Just think. Again, let's take some things like a steel plate in your kitchen, or maybe a small katori, a small dish or bowl, and try to put in the bucket of water. Just think what will happen. We'll also do that here. What about if we take a bottle like this, and this bottle, if we place it in the water like this with the lid closed, and then only the lid of it or cap of it, and then this without lid, we'll see what happens. And what happens and why it happens. We are going to explore the reason why it is happening. Although you'll be finding out the reason, but I'll help you understand why it's happening. Right, children? Have you seen some things floating on water, but some things are there which sink? Well, when you are taking bath, using the bucket in the bathroom, many times you might have seen while taking bath your soap gets slipped from the hand and falls into the bucket. I am sure it must have happened with many of you many times. What happened? Just recollect. Did the soap cake float, or it went to the bottom of the bucket? Recollect and think why it happens. In meantime, I have got a wonderful poem here. Why, oh why? A wooden boat like this. This is not a wooden boat. This is a wonderful leaf collected from somewhere roadside, but wonderful, it looks like a boat. A wooden boat like this A wooden boat in water will float, but a needle will sink. So big boat, this floats, and a needle, you know, no needle, a pin, that sinks. Why does this happen? Why does this happen? Let me think. Why? Oh, why? An iron ship, might have seen the ship, an iron ship so large will also float, though it's much heavier than my small boat. But a needle as light as a leaf, as thin as a pin, will sink right in. Why does this happen? Let me think. So this is a wonderful poem for children, children for you. Now we move on and we try to see what happens. We are going to perform this activity using a bucket of water, right? And one by one we'll try so many things, whether a katori floats or sinks, whether a spoon floats or sinks, whether pebbles, these float or sink. We have got some pebbles here, right? Here are some pebbles. We'll try with this. We'll also try with some small objects like, but iron objects like screw, nails, etc. We'll try with kind of medicine wrapper. It's a kind of aluminum foil. We'll also try with a few things. Let's see how it happens. Well, dear students, let us see what are the things which will float and which will think in the water, right? So we'll take an example of, let's say, a katori that we use at home. We see that it is floating, right? Now can we take this screw, kind of nail? Which one is bigger? Which one is heavier? Obviously katori is heavier and this screw is much tinier. But let us see whether it floats. Oh, it did not. Anyway, let us try the other one. One more nail. This also does not. Fine. Now what will happen if I put the same kind of nails on this katori? Great. It continues to float. Even now it is floating. Is floating. Is floating. Okay. Can we try little more heavier things in that? I am taking pebbles, some small pebbles. One by one we'll try. It floats. It floats. Well, one little bigger one. Little too many. Even now it floats. It floats. And I am putting too many now. See, till now it is floating. The way a big ship made of iron floats, in which lot of things are kept. Lot of things are kept. People are sitting. There are hotels. There is a swimming pool. Similarly, this one is floating. Now we'll try one more katori here. This floats. Right. Okay. We'll try some other kind of things now. Small bottle. Floats. Okay. What about its cap? Cap of the bottle. Let us try. And now the bottle without cap. It is floating. And if we permit it for some time, gradually it goes down and down and down inwards. Okay. We'll make it, we'll fill up the water completely in this and then we'll try what happens. Okay. I'm leaving it here. It sinks. It keeps submerged and then finally goes to the bottom. We'll try with a bigger bottle, right? Let us see. Okay. Let us try with the soap case that we have at home. It floats, right? Okay. We'll try with the soap. Great. So now if I take it out, would this soap float or this will sink? Just guess. Yes, sink or float? Or float or sink? Okay, let us try. My God, it sinks. It sinks. Okay, I'll take some more things. This is a chalk piece. Do you think it will sink or float? Sink or float? Should I put? Okay, I'm creating more space, you can see. I'm putting a chalk here. Though it is very, very light, but still this sinks. Very light, but sinks. I've got a boat like thing for you. Let us see. In this boat, lot of things can be put, isn't it? Let me put this chalk. Let me put this bowl. Now this is how the Titanic sink must have sank. You can see gradually it's going down and down and down. Right? So students, these are some activities with which I tried. Maybe you can also try at home. Okay, let us see one more example. Here is a little wet cloth. Okay, and I am putting it here. Let us see. Initially it does not sink, but you can see gradually it is sinking. Why it is sinking? You have to think. Now we move on to the other activity. Now we find, after doing this activity, that what are the things which are sinking, what are the things which are floating, and then we'll try to explore why it happens. Right? Well, students, is it a magic? Is it a jadoo? Let's try to see a few things which we think otherwise may not be happening, but it will happen. I'm going to try for you putting a few things in the water, and let us see those things float or they sink. I'm taking a piece of potato, right, and I'm going to put in this water, and we see that it has reached the bottom. So we'll record it somewhere. I'm removing it. Now I'll try the same thing with the lemon. Right, I'm placing this lemon now in this water, and we see that gradually the lemon has gone down to the bottom. Right. Let's try it with a tomato. Good tomato. I'm placing it here, and we see that tomato doesn't go that much in. It kind of remains half floated, right? And now we'll see what happens. Just guess. This is an egg. Can you guess whether it will float or it will go down? Okay, I am putting, and then you think whether you are right or not. But then we see it has gone down up to the bottom. Right, taking it out. Now can we do something with this water so that this makes the lemon float? Can we do something with this water so that this egg also comes up? Will it be a magic? Let us see. This is the common salt I am taking. I am using common salt here, and I'll be dissolving it into this water with an estimation. Of course, you must be thinking what's happening. And then we are stirring it. Why are we stirring it? You can tell the answer probably. when we have to make sugar solution, when we have to make salt solution, or when you have to make your milk sweet and you add sugar, don't you? Then how does it become sweet? Does it get vanish on its own, or it has to be stirred? This is what we call stirring. I'll keep stirring. In meantime, I'll talk to you. Do you know about Dead Sea? There is a sea that is called Dead Sea. And the beauty of talking about Dead Sea here is that it contains a lot of water and almost contains great amount of salt in the water. And it's called Dead Sea because it's very difficult to sink anything into that. And if somebody drinks that water, may become dead. Anything which is put on water, I'm using word on, not in, because normally when we put the things in water, the things sink, isn't it? But there when we put in water, it becomes on water, the things start floating because it contains lot of salt in it. And when we dissolve, when we mix lot of salt in water, you will find that the things which were sinking so easily, they don't sink. Now let us see. I am placing now the lemon. Isn't it a magic? A few minutes back, when we had placed this lemon, do you enjoy this? When we had placed this lemon, where was it? It had gone to the bottom of the container, isn't it? But see, that's the beauty. That's the magic. Okay, maybe this happens only with the lemon. Should we try with the potato? Okay, let's try with the potato. Here is the potato. The same potato which I had placed in this water container, and earlier it had gone down. Now let us see what happens to this. See, this is also floating. Looks like a magic. Okay, maybe this happened with the lemon and this happened with the potato. This may not happen with tomato. Should we try? Okay, I am putting this tomato. Wow, wonderful. It completely floats on the water. Okay, maybe our observation may not be right in case of egg. What do you say? Will it float or will it sink? Sink? Okay, let's see. See, this also floats. The same thing happens when somebody goes and lies down in the water of Dead Sea. One will not drown, one will not sink, it will keep floating. Isn't it wonderful? Should we try a few things more? Okay, I am taking a nail. A nail. Okay. Difficult to say whether it will float or it will sink. But let us see. We find that so small a nail, it sinks. Isn't it? So my dear students, this was about how the things float or sink, and what all things will be determining whether something will be sinking or floating if more and more of the salt is dissolved in the water. So remember, the lemon floated in the salty water, but if the same lemon I take and again I take another water which is the normal water, you see what happens? It goes down, it went down. When we take the same potato, again to remind you, it goes down, right? So this is how I wanted to show you how the things float or sink. And if the things which are sinking, if more of the salt is there in the water, whether it will start floating. And my dear students, the things like spoon also, if we take big container, lot of salt in that, you'll find that this will also start floating, right? Now we move on to some more things and this wonderful activity. The way I mix the salt, can we mix anything in the water? Just think. Here is a table in front of you that I am showing. Can salt be mixed? Obviously, you think it can be mixed because every day you are seeing, and again today we have done that activity. What about the soil? Mitti. Okay, we will try with the soil, right? And I am adding little soil to the water. I am adding little soil more to the water. Does it dissolve? Does it mix? And we see that probably no. Anyway, we'll leave it for some time and then we'll see what happens with this. Okay. Now, what about chalk powder? Let's see. I am again taking, without wasting much of water, I am taking a piece of chalk crushed into its powder. You can see the particles going down, right? Difficult to say whether it dissolves or not, but then we'll see after some time. We leave it for some time to ensure whether it's dissolving or not. Now, if we take little bit of milk, yes, I am going to take little bit of milk in water. Of course, this is water, and I have got little milk here. It's more of curd than milk. This is what happens with the curded milk or curd. But you can say it's almost transparent. Now we'll again try with another liquid as given in your table, whether we can dissolve little bit of oil you can see that oil whatever was put into this, I'll put some more oil for your more of clarity, but we see that oil does not mix. Finally, this is soil, does not mix, does not dissolve, oil does not, milk almost, and then chalk powder, chalk piece does not. In fact, we can put some more of chalk piece into this. We have to understand why it happens. Can anything be mixed in anything? Can any liquid be mixed with any liquid? You try the same thing maybe with the ghee, maybe with the butter you can try. At home you can try the pulses, dals, chana, rajma, chola, rice, kind of things. But you don't put directly. You prepare a table that I am going to dissolve these things in the water. Have a table, and every time that you are listing one particular item, you think what will happen and observe later on, think first and see in how many cases your thinking goes right. Your parents will also help in that. You can take parents of elders, help of elders and parents. Now, here is something that you have to tell. Could you see the salt after it dissolved in water? Still, now that container is here. About 6-7 spoons of salt I had put into this, isn't it? Can you see the salt? I don't think so. Now the question is why? Okay. Next. It means that whatever salt I had put from there to from this container to this container, first of all you tell me whether the salt is there in this or it has gone away somewhere. Surely it has not gone, because we have seen that we have not let it go anywhere. We have only put and stirred. That means it is here. Now what is the difference in the water, normal water, and water with the salt? Of course, taste will be different. By look, appearance both are same, but when you try the properties, a few things are there which will sink in the normal water, but if it is a salty water, some of the things will start floating, right? And can we separate from here? What is this? Soil in water. Is it possible to separate the water and the soil? Yes, if we sieve through the way we do sieving and filtering of tea, if we use a cloth, probably the soil that we had mixed will come out, and remaining that will be water. May not be that clean water, that clear water, but that is possible. Similarly, if we try with the chalk powder or chalk, again the water will be filtered out and the chalk piece will remain, or chalk powder may remain. But if we have to do the same thing with the milk, water and milk cannot be separated. If we have to try with oil, yes, they can be separated. Okay, let us try to dissolve this, whether it dissolves. I am shaking it. Is it dissolved? Looks like for some time, probably yes. Is it not? But when you let it settle down for some time, you find that again the oil becomes a separate layer and water becomes a separate layer. Children, can you tell me whether oil can be dissolved in water? Yes? Answer yes or no? No, because oil is visible here, right? Whereas in case of soil, can it be dissolved? Answer is no. In case of chalk powder, chalk, can it be dissolved? Answer is no. And if I take milk, answer is yes. Then there are a few things which can be dissolved by other methods, right? And what can be those methods? One of the ways I showed, by stirring it, maybe with the spoon, glass rod, or by shaking it like this. Other way could be, just think, what could be the way? Yes, some of you are right. Another way could be that if we heat it, the way our mothers do, if we heat that again dissolves a bit more, right? So start thinking all these kind of things that you see and start guessing what will happen, and then try in guidance of your elders, right? And then after that you will be able to understand what happens and why it happens. Do you think the oil got dissolved in the water? I have already shown it. Answer is no. Why? Now the question is why? My dear students, you have to understand that everything cannot be dissolved in everything. Like all liquids cannot dissolve all solids. Though water is one of the most wonderful liquids which dissolves most of the things. That's why in the later classes you will come to know it is called universal, let's say universal liquid. It can dissolve sugar, it can dissolve milk, it can dissolve salt, it can dissolve so many things. But the oil cannot dissolve all these things. Oil can dissolve only a few things. Other liquids can dissolve only a few other liquids or solids. Right? Now the jalebi has been prepared. It's fried. You can see the changed color, this tomato that he has prepared. Now he'll be soaking it into the sugar solution. Okay, let's wait. Sugar solution that he has kept, and jalebis will be coming from the frying pan. Okay, from there to the sugar solution. Now you can see the fried jalebis are being put in sugar solution. There they were floating, right? In the oil, they are floating. And now when we put in sugar solution, you can see they are not floating. They are going down again, sinking, right? So that's what we have to understand, and we have to try to find an answer why it happens. See, wonderful jalebis are ready. Okay, children, I hope you enjoyed this. Here is another activity I would like to show you. There is a tiffin box like what you have generally. I am inverting it for your understanding, and here is a bit of water I am trying to put on this. You also must be doing, and when we tilt it, as you know, water flows, it will flow. Now if we take salty water, you see this also flows, but the way it flows is little different from the way it was flowing in case of normal water. And if I apply little bit of oil, right, this surface, apply little bit of oil, and I put water, little bit of water, it races. It races. You may try with your tiffin box also. Now the thing is that whenever you find this kind of thing happening, many times your mothers must be preparing parathas and puri and giving you for tiffin or lunchtime tiffin in the school. And you'll find that even if the water is put on that after eating, the water drops run very quickly. They almost race. Why it happens? Why it happens, you just think. And I'll give you an example of your daily life. When you have to bicycle on a very rough road, how fast you go? When you get little better road, how fast you go? And when you get a wonderful road, how fast you go? Similar is the kind of example. When you apply oil, when you apply butter, when you apply ghee, and if you put the water on that, the same way they start moving like you move on a very smooth road, right? I want you to watch this. Well, dear students, now the stove is on and I am putting a saucepan on that and pouring little water. Okay. You can now see the level of water in this. Can you see how much is the water? And now we'll have to observe for little time as to what happens to the level of water when it is being heated. Okay. Now you see water has started boiling, right? You might have seen your mothers and aunts and elder sisters, grandparents, grandmothers doing it at your home. And we see that there is a turbulence in saucepan, right? Might have seen this happening when tea is being prepared or your mother is boiling water, and you can see how it happens. Now you see how much water we have taken, right? Do you see that much of water? The water is disappearing, right? Now you have to think, where does this water go? Because we have not taken anything from this saucepan, we have only kept it on stove, and you can see that gradually the water is disappearing. Now you have to think, in your daily life, what other places the water disappears, right? When you have washed your clothes, or your parents have washed your clothes, or somebody has washed your clothes, and it's quite wet, and after some time, when you spread it outside in the sun, or spread it in house, and the fans are on, and kind of situation you can see. So now start thinking, where did the water go? You have seen this activity. Now here I can take one more simple activity for you. We have enough water here, and I soak this cloth paste in the water. This is wet now. Can you tell how this will be dried? Might be seeing at home. I have to use this maybe tomorrow. How this will be dried? Yes, spreading in sun. Okay, good option. Some more answers. Keeping in fan, spread like this. Okay, good. Can we keep it like this in the sun? Will it dry? Excuse me. It will dry, but it will take more time. Now you have to think, the water to escape from this is dependent on, as you told, we have to spread on sun, in sun. That means heat is obtained from sun. When we spread and put the fans on, that means we are spreading so that more of the surface is there, and we have to spread it wherever we keep so that it dries quickly. Can there be some other reason with which this will dry fast? Try at your home. Okay, try at your home, and then find out what can be other ways of drying, and what can be the ways of drying it quickly, right? My dear students, in the end of the discussion, I would like to tell you one small story, which is a real story. You might be knowing there is a place called Dandi in Gujarat, and Dandi March is a great historic event that took place in 1930. You might be very much aware that we need salt, common salt, for so many activities of ours, cooking and other things. And where does the salt come from? Of course, must be coming from somewhere. This salt is basically derived from the salty water, mostly from the sea, and the salt is obtained by letting the salty water be spread on a bed, soil bed, sand bed you can say, and then with the sun the water goes off and the salt remains there. This is how it happens, my dear children. And the people from India, in our country, they used to obtain this way the salt for their use, especially in the areas where the salty water is available. But then in the British rule, they applied a tax. They said that no, you cannot obtain salt like this. And against that, the people made protest, and the protest that was called by Gandhiji. So many people marched together, kind of yatra, to the Dandi, which is from Ahmedabad to Dandi. And Dandi is a seashore place in Gujarat. And so after that, we got again this facility of using the salt without tax. So my dear children, you have to understand the way water is very, very important. The same way salt is also very important, and the salt that we get without tax, we get because lot of people had made protest, and they understood that salt is a symbol of the freedom. Having opportunity to use our own salt, indigenous salt, is a kind of synonymous to having our freedom. Right, children? I hope you had nice time, and quickly we'll go through what we have learned. Right? You have washed your handkerchief the way I soaked it and want to dry it quickly. What all can you do? Try it. Do it and then write down somewhere. What things do you put in water to make tea? You ask your mothers, observe your mother, how does she prepare tea, or your father, how does he prepare tea? And which of the things which were dissolved in water for preparing tea, and which are things which are not dissolved in that. Similarly, you might be knowing mishri, sweet mishris. How you can dissolve them quickly. Try the way I tried, stirring, and try some other methods. Right. So, my dear student, it was nice talking to you. Have a wonderful time. Thank you. Keep studying, keep exploring. EVS is all about exploring whatever you see and trying to find out an answer. Thank you so much. Thank you.